Welcome to the Prime Authority, the official podcast of the Sim Madden League.
Be great. Let's be great.
Where we cover everything from sports, news, predictions, and more in our Madden Football League.
Play our game. All right? Play hard, but stay poised.
And now,
here is
the voice of SML, Primetime 000.
Hello and welcome to the SML podcast. I am Primetime 0000, and with me today is actually a dynamic duo, a duo we have never before had on an SML podcast. A father and son duo, Rowin Cuh, and I'm going to call him Papa Cuh because he's in the streams. He's always commenting on Rowan's games. It seems like he's Rowin Cuh's #1 fan. So guys, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Going good. Welcome. Thanks for having us, Prime.
Thanks, Rowan. Now, I want to talk to you first, and then we're gonna ask Papa Cuh some questions as well. First of all, where did you get the name the Rowin Cuh from?
So my friends back in South Carolina, where I went to high school, I had a good group of 4 or 5 friends that we hung out with all the time, and there was this. We watch sports and all the time, and we're pretty stupid. We make stupid jokes and stuff. And there was like a little stuffed animal or something, and a YouTuber named Chris Move used the word "cuh," and the word Rowan came from somewhere, and it's just kind of been iconic in our friend group and stuck ever since.
There you go. So now I'll switch to Papa Cuh here. What do you think about the SML? Have you ever heard of Madden leagues before up until this point? And what's kind of your thoughts on the whole thing? It's kind of crazy for an outsider.
No, it is. I hadn't heard of your specific league. I spent some time in the last job I had doing college higher education activities, and we studied online gaming and esports. And esports was just starting to erupt, and I was actually called into Arlington, Texas, to look at a group that bought a convention center to hold it as an esports arena necessarily. And so I had never heard of it until Keegan one time said, "Hey, look, I'm playing in this league. You want to watch a game?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm familiar with it. What do you guys do?" So yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. If you try explaining it to a bystander or a random person, they probably would think it's strange. But hey, it keeps it's better than a club, is what some people say. So could be doing much worse things. All right, Rowan, back to you now. Playoff day. This is probably the biggest game of your SML career. I'm just gonna say it. What's kind of your expectations for tonight? What's your mood for tonight? You nerves? Any pregame jitters? Any of that going on?
There's definitely some nerves because I know I have my doubters in the SML. But like I've said a few times, I didn't think my team was built to make it this far, season 1. So I've already exceeded expectations. So I'm coming in on one hand a little nervous, trying to prove myself. I know I got a tough matchup. But at the same time, I know I've beat Meats this year. I'm very familiar with his play style. He was in my division last year, so I got an optimistic outlook, and I'm just gonna put my head down and see if I can't make a little magic happen.
Do you have any guarantees for tonight?
I have a guarantee that it's gonna be a good time. That's about all I got for you right now. I might be a little shaky in the first quarter, but we'll see.
Hey, I was too in my game, but hey, I lost either way, so I guess it doesn't matter. I bounced back from it, but it's all about checking the nerves, especially when you see that viewer count climbing on Twitch. Back to Papa Cuh now. Well, when you're watching these games, do you? It sounds like you're a sports guy. You know a decent amount about sports. Do you find yourself kind of cheering for it more than a standard sports team if you do watch, or what kind of goes through your mind as you're watching young Rowin Cuh do his thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating. I've been with Keegan since obviously birth, and he's played sports his whole life. So I've been sucked into watching him play. So this is new. I mean, he played varsity golf, and kind of that's not a great sport to go get excited about his last 3 years. So he started doing this. It was like back to the time he was playing baseball competitively. So it was fun to watch. And what goes through my head is I'm a Nebraska diehard fan, born and raised in Nebraska. Followed this team for all my life, and so I can't have any more anxiety. But I see my kid out there occasionally, and I get into it. I'm sitting there late at night trying to stay awake on my iPad watching this, and I'm nervous, and my wife's laying in bed next to me going, "What are we doing? What are you doing? Why are you screaming at the iPad?" And I'm like, "Well, because he's not playing right, you know." So, yeah, it's fun to watch, and I do get very nervous for him.
Does Miss Cuh watch the games, or does she just kind of think it's stupid?
No, she actually cares about it a lot. It took a minute for Keegan and I to explain it to her, and she needed a little more explaining than probably necessary. But we had to really explain it because she hadn't watched this before. But yeah, she loves to sit there in bed and wherever we're at when he's playing and tune in. We'll eat dinner sometimes and have the iPad sitting on the table while he's playing, and she's very intrigued.
That's pretty cool. So now back to Rowan here. You joined the SML last Madden cycle. You made your way to the Primer. I believe, if anybody who is listening to this podcast and they don't know, SML Primers are developmental league. You go through the Primer. It's basically like an amateur league before you hit the quote-unquote pros of the SML. That way we weed out anybody who might not be a fit for us. Rowin Cuh was our first guy who made it through the Primer. And so, Rowan, as you kind of made that jump from Primer to the SML, you had some struggling, but now it looks like you could be one of our premier members. What's been that leap for you? What's kind of helped you make that leap?
It's everything that I do. I want to be the best at. I'm sure if you've seen through chat, I have the tendency to get a little cocky, get a little fired up. I like to bring a little personality because some people in the league just like to lay low and do their thing. But really, this cycle, I got my team from the start, which I had a team for a majority of the cycle last time, but I got to pick my team from the start. Like I said, I recently broke up with my girlfriend, so believe it or not, that's actually given me a lot more time to focus, as stupid as that may sound. So it's just giving me more time to focus, and I really just, being the youngest in the SML, I really wanted to put like my footprint down for the future and show people that even though y'all might have kids older than me, I'm not afraid to beat down on you.
And how old are you? 19?
19.
Yeah, I think I was 19 when I started the SML, so it's been 5 or 6 years. That's crazy. So back to Papa Cuh now. When you're in Twitch and you're on your iPad, and I don't know if you read chat, I see you in there every so often when I'm in there. What do you think when people are kind of trash talking Rowin Cuh? Does that get you fired up, or do you just have to try to turn a blind eye to that, or what's the thought process?
No, half the time probably deserves it. I mean, the kid needs a little more humility. I'm usually trying to teach that to him, that humbleness is a good virtue. You got to have that. He does get arrogant. He does get a little cocky, and I think it is his personality. He's been that way since birth, and I think the trash talking is probably what he deserves. I think it fires him up. I think if he can dish it out, man, he's got to be able to take it.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. It's very entertaining. Rowan, you commentate your games, and I know you had a few iconic calls when you've gotten touchdowns. There was one against the 49ers earlier this year. It was a last-second 80-yard bomb. What kind of, when you're commentating these games, are you kind of in your own place, or do you plan out what you're going to say, or how do you do that?
Nah, man. A lot of times it's just I may have music playing in an earbud, and I'm just kind of trying to get right. And when, like I said, I get fired up. There multiple times this year. I've had a lot of game winners, and for example, that game winner against the 49ers that you were discussing. I stood up from my PlayStation. I'm doing laps around my room screaming, "I do this. We do this. Put some respect on us." I mean, my roommates are probably hearing me thinking, what in the world is going on in that room?
Yeah.
But everything is, there is no script. It's the Rowin Cuh Saturday Night Live is what it is.
And you're enjoying that SML mug, are you?
Yeah, the SML mug's great. I sent that video of it, enjoyed nice cold Coca-Cola in it my first day, and that was a great gift. When I showed it to my dad and told him I won the raffle, he was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool right there."
Yeah, I did not rig that raffle at all. For anybody listening, that was not a rigged raffle. And well, maybe I'm kidding. Who knows? But anyway, Papa Cuh, back to you now. I gotta ask this. Hey, I'm the commissioner of the league. Have you ever considered joining the SML?
Oh man, that would be the biggest tragedy you've ever seen. very video game inept. Keegan and I, when he was younger, and he would try to get me into video games and playing with him, it was pretty pathetic. So we have a pool table here in the house. We have a dartboard in the house, and I play those old man games and kick him around a little bit. Although he took 2 pool games off of me today watching college football. But so no, I've never considered joining the SML league. I think it's fabulous to watch. I was fascinated earlier. Again, I'm sorry for your evening tonight. Keegan pulled it up on the big screen in our house, and I thought this is a lot better than my iPad. It was great watching it, even though the game probably didn't turn out the way you wanted, Prime. But it was great seeing it. It's actually fascinating. So no, I've never considered playing. I don't have that skill set, and I'm glad to see you guys do.
No, I appreciate it. And good news is I got 16 championships to lay my head on at night, and I'm not short of confidence either, like young Rowin Cuh. Maybe I've called Cuh the next big thing. I know there's a few other guys who are the next big thing in the league, but I got my eyes on Rowan. Final questions now, though, as we move on. Rowan, do you have any Super Bowl predictions, playoff time? I know you said you're just trying to make it a good game, no guarantees. Who do you think's going to win this first season Super Bowl?
First season, man. Out of the NFC, I really like what Grams has going. Me and Grams have had our disputes per se. We've talked in direct message over the last few days, coming to a bit of an understanding. I think there's a mutual respect and a mutual push for each of us to get better, but I wouldn't really I think Grams wants to make his footprint in the playoffs. So I could see Grams or Faz coming out of the NFC, and then the AFC, I think it will come down to Dan and QB. Maybe Mad Bomber, I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck in there, but I think Dan and Grams both have big things to prove this first season to get the monkey off their back. So I think Dan and Grams is going to be my Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah, both players have had their struggles in the playoffs. Last cycle, Grams 1-6, I believe it was, in the playoffs. Not very good. So I'm going to round this out now with a question to Papa Cuh. I'm not sure if you realize, but if somebody wins a championship here in the SML, we send them a pretty nice trophy. If Rowin Cuh makes the Super Bowl, are you going to be at the edge of your seat? Are you excited for that? Are you going to be pretty amped up, or what's going to be going through your head during that game? I see you get pretty excited in chat sometimes, so I just kind of want to see what your thoughts are on that, and how close maybe you might be to your iPad tonight as Rowin Cuh is in the playoffs.
No, I think it's a great question, and I think, as we think through it, my wife Tracy and I she asked the other day, because Keegan said something about playoffs are starting, and he had a game to get into playoffs, and he said it's going to be a late game, and I'll figure out if I make it. And she's like, "Well, what happens? How does this work? I mean, what if he goes into the playoffs and he wins the Super Bowl?" I said, I think there's a very nice trophy involved. And I said, this group is really a great cohesive group of folks that have put together a community that cares about each other and does some great things. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'd love to see him advance in the playoffs. If he doesn't, I think it's great that he's still in the league.
Yeah.
I think I will be on the edge of my seat. I will be watching tonight. I will be hoping for good things. But again, just the education he's getting and the people he's meeting in this community, very supportive. With COVID going on right now and him not being able to attend college in person and kind of doing it online, this is the greatest group of folks he's kind of connected with. And to hear him talk about folks he's had disputes with, which is news to me. Keegan will talk about that in a minute. So that's exciting. So I'm excited for the Super Bowl, and I'm going to probably watch the rest of the season with or without him. It sounds great.
No, I'm excited. I'll make a promise. If Rowin Cuh, if you advance past this round, I will get the commentary team together, and we will commentate your game. We'll put an overlay over it, and we'll make sure that's taken care of if you make the divisional round. But that's a beautiful thing the SML does. If no matter your race, religion, or culture, it brings people together. We have doctors, lawyers, maybe not doctors, but we have lawyers, we have policemen, people from all sorts of walks of life, and it just brings everybody together. Everybody, once again, that was Rowin Cuh and Papa Cuh, the SML's biggest fan that's not in the SML. So guys, I just appreciate you guys coming on the show. Open mic to you guys if you want to say anything. If not, we'll wrap this thing up.
I just want to take my time to say that I really do appreciate the SML. I know my ego causes me to bump heads, but really with all that's going on in the world right now, that it's a great group of guys that, even though our ages may be different and things we may say are different, I think it's a great group of guys, and I'm excited that I'm in the league. I'll never take it for granted a single day, and hopefully I can make it out to the meetup with you guys.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you again. That was Rowin Cuh, Papa Cuh. I'm Prime Time. SML, apply today, simmaddenleague.com.